Okay, thank you for everybody for attending our webinar today. We're going to be going over Snom and all of their business phones, mobility, wireless. My name is Darren Hartman. I work for VoIP Supply. We're co-hosting with Snom today. And let me get started by telling you a little bit about VoIP Supply, and then we can get started with the presentation. So during the webinar, please use the Q&A feature located in the bottom right corner of your screen. We will be answering the questions at the end of the presentations. Thank you. All right, some of the programs that VoIP Supply does offer, just so you know, and I'd be happy to explain in further detail later on if you need some assistance there or clarification, but we do hardware and provisioning for customers. So all the manufacturers that we carry, we can pre-provision phones, systems, whatever you need there. Our VoIP rental program is a really great program. Device as a service gives your customers the wide variety of VoIP products for a low monthly payment. Our CloudSpan Marketplace is a single place to shop various VoIP service providers. You can build up your monthly recurring revenue and receive discounts on hardware selling through VoIP Supply as well. Our fulfillment services goes right along with our provisioning. So we can provision your equipment, send it directly to your customer on your behalf if you would like, with any kind of inserts or information collateral that you want to add in there for you. We do this out of our Buffalo warehouse, which is fully ready to go today. Our refresh and reclaim program, so we can buy back older equipment that you might have, trade it in for newer equipment. We also do offer some of our most popular manufacturers in our refresh condition, which is VoIP Supply Refurbished. Goes through a 10-step process. We sell it as a like-new product, and it's a great value for our customers. VoIP Supply has also been in business since 2002. So we've been around for a long time in the VoIP world. 125,000 customers today. This is just another description of our reclaim and refresh that I just described. So we can buy back your older equipment. We can also sell discounted phones through our refresh program. Like I mentioned there, we sell them as like new. Fulfillment and provisioning, again, big part of our business. We do provisioning and fulfillment services for a lot of large VoIP providers today, hoping to grow that with everybody here today that is interested. You know, some of the advantages would be a custom portal through VoIP Supply and API, get the real-time access to your projects and the delivery timeframes. Also, Provisioning Professional allows you to take complete control and provide the perfect solution to your customer without the time constraints and financial burden of completing these tasks in-house. And here's our Reseller Portal. If you want to sign up as a reseller with us today, or some of the ways to do that, then you'll have access to our portal, which will give you tons of information about all our services, promotions, events, you know, all of our collateral that you can use. Very helpful, very good site. I'd be happy to walk you through that if you'd like to take a look at it. Okay, and then what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to pass it over to Ian and Sarah from Snom, and they are going to go through all the solutions here, and really appreciate their time today. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ian Mitchell with Snom Americas. I'm one of the product managers here. And as Darren mentioned, we're just going to talk about some of our DECT solutions. And we'll kind of talk about it in two series. So the first one is we'll actually go over our Snom M100, which is our keyline emulation system. And then that'll be followed up with our M300 and M700, which is more of your traditional kind of add-on complementary DECT devices, whether it's for small business or actually our M700 scales up to large enterprise installations. But starting off with the key line, we'll kind of go through a little bit of the history. So we can see here, for those that aren't familiar with key systems, you know, some old phones, you know, back in the day, we had these phones that actually had like line keys directly on the phone. So you basically have multiple lines that were represented by multiple backlit buttons. They're fairly easy to use in terms of training and stuff, because you'd literally have that blinking light for incoming calls. You'd have a solid light for a call that was answered, and you know, you had a single button presses for holding. So you didn't have the complexity of a PBX where you're having to deal with you know, call transfers and parks, but of course you didn't have the benefits of those systems, like having a full IVR solution and being able to kind of expand to a much larger scale. These were, you know, kind of really only worked in the small office environment. But that small office environment, or even like a micro business, is still something that's, you know, there's a big market for. You know, a lot of those businesses that are, you know, under 10 seats and stuff like that. These systems got a little bit better where you'd get into, you know, these KSUs where you had like a big old KSU box in the back. You tended to get a little bit more buttons with these phones, so you could actually have a little bit higher expansion than your typical 4 lines, but they were very difficult to install. You know, you had a lot of wiring that had to take place in the back, and it was, you know, not kind of standard Ethernet, which could be multi-purposed for other things and like printers and whatnot. So very labor intensive, but you know, you at least still had that ease of use in order to have, you know, that easy button recognition for lines that were in use or lines that were held or incoming calls and stuff like that. You can do it in SIP right now, but of course, you're going to be using a shared call appearance, which is going to be more expensive because, of course, the way SIP is built is you're typically paying per phone and also per line, which, you know, can work for a lot of customers. But for those small micro businesses that might be watching their dollars a little bit more closely, that can get very pricey to have them have a bunch of shared lines across multiple phones. So we actually developed a good cordless solution, which basically eliminates that. So with the Snom M100, the great thing is that it's easy for the installation because you only have to worry about provisioning one device, which is the Snom M100 KLE DECT base that you see. And by default, we allow this to basically be provisioned through a single SIP account. So by default, if you provision account 1, we of course know that with SIP, one of the benefits over like the old traditional POTS lines is one SIP account can handle multiple calls if the PBX is set up that way. So what we do is we index those calls, and that gets indexed on the lines 1, 2, 3, and 4 keys that are actually shared on both of the handsets and the desk set. And that way, the first call comes in, it's going to light up L1 on each one of those phones, and you still get that key system ease of use where you can put a call on hold and that line will just be flashing now that everybody gets to see that, oh, there's a call holding and I need to pick it up. Or it'll be flashing very fast to let people know that, hey, I've got an incoming call and somebody needs to pick this up, in addition to actually like ringing the phones. So everybody gets the caller ID. But we do allow people to actually program this in a different way as well. So if you want to have, instead of a single account that is set up, that is indexed to 4 times, you could have a separate account for each one of those lines. So you could have account 1 that indicates for L1, account 2 indicates for line 2, account 3 indicates for L3, and so on and so forth. Or you can even do a mixed mode environment where you can do shared lines for all the phones, so everybody gets to see account 1, but let's say you're in a pizza shop and the person in the back is the one, you know, he's the manager, he's ordering supplies, he needs to make, you know, other calls to the accounting or whatever. Well, you can actually specify, you know, any one of those lines to be a private line. And that's why we do have up to 10 handsets, 8 SIP accounts spread across this solution, and up to 6 concurrent calls shared between the phones. So that way you can still have your main people up front that can be answering calls, those 4 shared accounts, those 4 shared lines. but you can still have people taking private calls on the backside as well. So very flexible solution, but out of the box, it gives you a turnkey key system solution that's very easy to register because you're just provisioning that one particular account. So just to give you a little bit more details, what this full solution is, and this is more of a kind of full solution for a small business. So it's really kind of purpose built for any location that has kind of like under 10 seats. So, you know, your shoe store, a flower shop, a pizza shop, you know, auto mechanics place, you know, somebody that, you know, those phone calls are very important to them because that's like, you know, business on the line. But of course, because we do also offer those private accounts, you could use this as a, you know, in addition to an existing phone installation. It's just that you're not going to get the shared line appearance to spread from the handsets to those wired desk sets. But within the solution, you do get the M10 cordless handset. You get the M10R, which is the ruggedized version of that cordless handset that gives you a locking battery door, better drop resistance. It's got some rubberized sides and everything like that. So if you do drop it in a warehouse environment, you're not going to break the phone. And then, of course, we do have that M18, which is the full wireless desk set. So when you do have those, you know, because this is a turnkey solution, you can kind of fit all those needs. If somebody has a desk and they want a traditional phone, they can get the M18. They still get the line appearances. They still get the flashing lights. They still get that easy hold. And of course, those two handsets will also see it. And of course, we have intercoms, so you can do intercoms, or you can actually do a global page to like page all the devices. So that way, if you do have that incoming call coming in, you know, somebody at the front answers it, hit the hold button, hit the page button and say, hey, sales, you've got a call on line 2. And all they need to do is just look for that flashing light, hit line 2, and they've answered the call. They don't have to worry about going through a transfer process. They don't have to worry about parking a call and then sending over the PA system, you know, what the call slot is, and then hopefully they push the right one because, of course, you know, even with call paging, it's, you know, it's kind of hard to get a visual representation of that. So yeah, so we've got the 4 line keys that are all indexed and synced up. So really good solution for small businesses. But again, because of that private line capability, you can also use it as an addition to a traditional desk phone installation if you're just trying to get some increased space out there. So another set of solutions that we have is our M325 and M700. Now these are separate solutions, and these are your traditional kind of DECT handsets that would be used primarily in addition to existing desk phones as well. And one of the great things about this is the M700 is actually a multi-cell base. And what this means is that you can actually link up to 253 of these to really expand out and grow the solution to cover, you know, not just a small little store, but to actually cover a full enterprise solution, whether that might be a hospital or a college with multiple buildings, you know, a huge, like, you know, warehouse type of solution. And this solution does have up to the 3 handsets. So we've got the M25, which is kind of your basic color handset display, you know, gives you 7 hours of talk time. Then we jump up to the M65, which is more of your, you know, kind of professional office grade handset. It gives you a 2-inch color display, up to 18 hours of talk time, vibration alerts, belt clips. And then when we get to the M85, this is a really good industrial design. So it actually has full IP65 certification. So it is dust proof and waterproof. We get the vibration alert. We also have Bluetooth built into it. And this also has a alarm button on the top. So it has an alarm that you can push to actually you know, indicate whatever you've programmed it to do. If it needs to call somebody specific, or if it needs to call a group of phones, you can program it into it. And it also has what we call the man down feature. So if the phone, you can actually program the phone with the gyroscopes to say if it's laid down for too long, or if the phone is moving too quick to indicate that somebody might be running away, that can also trigger another set of alarms to make a call out. So really good in those environments like a warehouse where you might be dealing with you know, some, you know, dangerous environments, and you want to be able to kind of know what's going on, we have those features that can be utilized in that M85 handset. And then, of course, we've got the M5 DECT Repeater if you do need to expand to even greater size of locations. So just taking a closer look, the M325, this is a bundle that gives you the M300 base along with a bundle of one M25 handset. And this is going to be more for your kind of traditional DECT bases that you see from a lot of competitors. You know, it's going to give you up to 20 SIP accounts, up to 5 concurrent calls, and you can also have up to 20 handsets paired to it. And again, it can be any combination of the M25, 65, and 85 that can work with this. And, you know, this will be good for, you know, kind of small office environment, you know, maybe just like if you're on kind of like one floor of a building, because we do have repeater support, so you can get a little bit of extended range, but you're not necessarily going to be able to grow the capacity. And then the M700, this is the multi-cell base station. This is the one that can actually scale up to 253 bases, 30 handsets per base, up to a total installation of 1,000 handsets. And then, of course, it can be used in a single cell environment to just right off the bat give you the 30 handsets, but then that scaling, it not only gives you range, but it increases capacity. So even if you don't necessarily have a large footprint that you're trying to cover, if you do have a large number of phones that you need to operate, we all know that DECT can typically only go to about a maximum of 20 handsets to 30 handsets or so before you run into collisioning and stuff. But this multi-cell means that there is DECT synchronization across all those bases. So if you need to pack, you know, 100 handsets into one building, you can do that safely with the M700 and not worry about DECT collisions and actually have that seamless handover as you're roaming from one part of the building to the next. And so that's the way that just gives you a quick illustration of how that multi-cell works, how you have the bases, and as long as 2 bases are in range of each other to synchronize, they'll be able to do that handover. And then if that, you know, second position also sees a third base, it can hand over to that one, and so on and so forth when it goes to the 4th, 5th, and 6th. So this gives you that ability to really increase to a larger range, and then also increase to have more handsets within that small location. And you can also overcome complete dead spots with this, because while we do have over-the-air sync, we do have a LAN sync backup. And this is what we refer to as like a multi-primary. And this way, in that, let's say the college campus environment, or if you just have multiple buildings that are separated by a large parking lot. And if you want, you of course could put those DECT bases in the parking lot as long as you have them, you know, covered from the, you know, elements of rain and stuff like that. But even if you don't want to do that, but you want a handset to be able to operate in both buildings, as long as they're on the same local area network, they'll still be able to communicate with each other and keep synchronization through the local area network. And then you can have a handset that works in building 1. And if the handset travels through the parking lot, of course, it might go into the, if you don't have the M700s out in the parking lot, it might go dead there. But then once that handset gets into building 2 or building 3, it gets picked right back up again. It becomes the same extension. It can still make the same phone calls and receive the same phone calls in that, you know, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th building. So this just kind of gives you an idea. This is one of the installations that we did at a hospital where we had 230 of these bases and then up to 600 phones. So that gives you a, you know, good representation of like the size we're talking about here. This can be deployed in very large locations. And the other great thing is, because of this, we do actually offer a site survey in the handsets themselves. So you don't need to worry about getting any type of like third-party equipment in order to map out where you'd want to put those DECT bases. You can actually punch in a code on the handset, and it'll actually start hunting for the different DECT bases out there. All you really need, if you're trying to map out a location to find out if this is a good solution for that, is you just need 2 M700 bases, and you just need to power them up somehow, and you can basically place one base where you want it to kind of start, where the start of the deployment would be, and you just take your handset that you've put into survey mode, and you can just kind of walk out to the edge of where you start losing signal, and then just come back in, you know, 5 or 10 feet, put your second base, And then you now are extending the range from that second base. Once you find the edge of that one, you can take the first base and kind of just, you know, piggyback on top of that and just kind of hop back and forth. That way you can kind of fully map out a location, and you don't have to worry about having to like bring 100 bases with you and just kind of blindly see where good spots are. You take 2 bases and a handset, and you could fully map out a large size building and figure out exactly, I need, you know, 50 bases or 75 bases or 100 bases in order to cover all the different dead spots and stuff like that. So just to kind of quickly show you some details on the specific handsets. We've got the M25. So this is going to be, again, kind of your entry-level handset, 1.4-inch color display, 2 soft keys, 7 hours of talk time. This does use 2 included AAA rechargeable batteries, and then it does include the 3.5mm headset jack. And then, of course, we have the M65, which is a little bit of a bump up. So you go from a 1.4-inch color to a 2-inch color display, a little bit higher resolution. And we also go to 3 soft keys. And then we change to a li-poly battery, so you're getting even more talk time. So up to 16 hours of talk time, and you still get the 3.5mm headset jack. And then when we jump up to the M85, this is the one that's fully ruggedized, has actual IP65 certification to be shockproof, splashproof, dustproof. Same good color display, 3 soft keys. Also includes Bluetooth in addition to the 3.5mm headset, because especially since if you might be in a warehouse environment and you don't want anything to be able to snag on the shelving units or on the ladders and stuff like that, you can just use a nice Bluetooth headset paired to the handset in order to take the calls. And of course, this one also has the alarm button on top and the gyroscopes to be able to program in like what happens if the handset is laid down for too long, or if it's moving at too fast a speed to indicate that somebody might be running or something like that. And then, of course, we have our M5 repeater, and the repeater does work with both the M300 and the M700, up to 3 repeaters per base. Is able to handle up to 5 simultaneous calls. And with everything that we have, of course, under the Snom brand, we offer a 3-year warranty on all of our shipped products. This covers both the Snom M100-KLE, the M300, 700, and then also our desk sets like our D700 series. Everything has a 3-year warranty on it. And with that, I was going to hand it over to Sarah to kind of talk about our channel partner program.
Hi, everyone. I am Sarah Boucher. I'm Inside Sales Manager here at Snom. I've been here for 5 years. We do have a new partner program in place that we just kind of want to go over with you guys quickly today. It's something new that we put in place that has really gone over well. What we're doing is we are enforcing the MAP policy. So everyone has to adhere to MAP if they want to go ahead and sell Snom products. So the link is at the bottom. We'll make sure that you all get a copy of this presentation, but you just go to that link, fill out the channel partner application, as well as the MAP agreement, send it over to us, and you'll typically get your authorization within 24 hours. Once you're approved, you can purchase directly through distribution. So VoIP supply, you can go right to them for all of your phones that you need through us. And also, you will be eligible to receive NFR units at a rather large discount, 35 to 40% off. So that's going to allow you to do some testing, bring them on the road to show your customers. So it's really a great value add. And then, as Ian mentioned, the 3-year warranty is also a really nice value add with us as well.
So my contact information is there. Any resellers that would like to sign up for the Snom reseller program, we'd be happy to help you out and follow through with you on that. Really appreciate everybody attending today. Really appreciate Ian and Sarah for doing this with us. And thank you and have a great day.